See a lot of evidence from Alabama and now Mississippi. This is a Georgia perspective. I want to be honest with you up front. I am going to dabble in some things outside of the area that I just couldn't get out of my head and struck me as important. I did work this event pretty much from start to finish, especially in the forecast and warning side. So let me proceed and show you some things. Before I begin and get into the details, if you look at the slide, this is Greenville, Georgia. This may have been Georgia's strongest tornado. I have a slide on that later. And this is the only photograph. Many tornadoes in Georgia struck at night. This one actually was one of the few that struck in the afternoon at 5:30. This is a steep valley between, it's hard to see with these detectors, but it's actually, what you're looking at is probably the supercell. The tornado would be just coming over that mountain, which we look out now and approaching Sand Mountain. In between these two mountain ranges is Trenton, Georgia, which was struck 3 separate times in the same day. I don't have a lot of time if you want to hear the real story, but we'll have to kind of find it. Quickly, with the outline, you can read that yourself. And the steel of the event, I just love to see this image from the Severe Storms Laboratory with the rotation tracks. It's a tremendous outbreak. Here's a regional perspective that struck me as the scale. You may have heard this already from talks this morning. It's a historic tornado event. I'm using some of the draft regional service assessment to come up with these numbers. So, the 24-hour period, roughly 136 tornadoes, 324 deaths. Comparable outbreaks, you've heard this, it's the Palm Sunday outbreak in 1965. I don't have an image for that. There was tremendous loss of life. Not as many as what we've seen just with the April 27th event. The super outbreak, obviously, 148 tornadoes, 315 deaths. And the one that was mentioned earlier, the Tupelo Gainesville outbreak in that 24 to 36-hour period, roughly, there was only 17 known tornadoes. But tremendous loss of life. And this photograph is from the Gainesville area, Gainesville, Georgia, and it struck early in the morning around 8 a.m., 8:30. The damage from the photos I've seen are not that destructive, but I think at that time, in society in the 30s, people worked outdoors, a lot of businesses going on. There was just a tremendous loss of life, and there was a mention of no warning, what warning records they had. Forecasting, there was good talk from Ken earlier about parameters. Looking at this, I know we've talked about significant tornado parameter as well. I know it struck me, I just wanted to show the slide that these are the 5 ingredients that comprise this parameter, and did very well. Just some recent outbreaks. This is April 24th, 2010, Yazoo City. This is shortly after that, May 10th in central Oklahoma. They had several large tornadoes. And this is the April 27th. All these are from the Storm Prediction Center mesoanalysis pages. You can see here, this is off the chart. I think it stops plotting at 12. I don't know if that's a hard limit view because the number of lines in GenMac or what have you. But it was capped out at 12. I think the maximum amount was somewhere around 15 at this time at ITT. Just to quickly show you a lot of these other events, you may recognize some of the dates. All these dates I've kind of shown on the screen are previous EF5 tornadoes in the last, say, 6 or so years, excluding these from 2010. You can see the parameter does very well. And I want to show you this slide about how does a good forecast save lives. I think it does a tremendous thing. You recognize what kind of parameters days in advance you can start to do things. And the media, you can do it at the Weather Service side. It will save lives. I'm convinced of this now. With preparation, sure, with the National Weather Service where I work, we have we know to start staffing up early and prepared for surveys afterwards. We start doing that. But also with media and especially first responders and EMs. I know for a fact that this was done in some areas in Georgia to start getting resources together and prepare, I'm sure, in Alabama as well. Closing of schools and other organizations, we don't currently do that in the state, but I know next to us in Alabama they do. Heightening awareness early. This is kind of triggered by something that when we were recognizing the Storm Prediction Center, one of our forecasters issued this forecast discussion over a day in advance and mentioned specifically this and putting in these subjective comments, not something that typically associated with a forecast discussion from the National Weather Service, where science seen as the science experts being objective and communicating more raw information. But when this forecaster put in these subjective comments in there, I think it raises awareness. And I kind of have a hypothetical question. It says height, and I don't know if that's really the role of the Weather Service, but possibly this could be an example of where height is good. Facebook just briefly showing you something in our office, and in other offices we did this as well. All offices have used this tool that was just spun up a week before the outbreak, maybe even less than that. We were able to put something like thunderstorm safety. It also was prominently shown on the front page of our website to let people just not only saying there's going to be tornadoes, we're pretty much saying there will be damage somewhere. Do you know what to do if a tornado is coming? We can kind of put that in terms of more plain English rather than technical objective language. You're sure you know what to do if a tornado is coming. Here's a slide I have on warnings. I kind of thought about this. What if you're in the perspective of a media or a user? How much information can you really process? And it was a lot of information for us to put out. But luckily in our office, we do have the resources to handle that. With 1 or 2 extra AWIPS workstations, that does help us. We're fortunate to have a larger operations area, and amateur radio can fit right in there with us. And now we have chat, WS chat. Well, I added up all the warnings. I got 279 severe thunderstorm warnings. I believe this is over a 40-hour period. It's pretty much everything you see on the screen here, just from the offices that are pretty much shown on the screen, National Weather Service. 397 tornado warnings, 1,017 severe weather statements, which are follow-ups, messages to those 2 warning types, and 59 of those severe weather statements were tornado emergencies, 7,000 and over 7,000 National Weather Service chat messages. So pretty sure those are accurate counts, and they're just a phenomenal number. I'm sure it's a record of some kind. Obviously, this would raise other kinds of questions I'm not going to get into, is how much is too much, but the scale of the event, this may be one of them. How does a good warning save lives? So radar information is very valuable. We were able, because of our, it's sometimes challenging to get a good spot on information in Georgia, to be honest. We have the best, I think, out there. But most of these were happening at night, and radar became invaluable too. We've been using SuperRes, our AAD Doppler radar system, for a few years now. I have not seen, I've been in Georgia for 7 years now. I don't remember seeing any debris balls. Not only did we see 1 or 2, we probably see at least a dozen instances of debris balls in the state of Georgia. This is in west central Georgia. Here, I believe this time is around midnight. This tornado warning was issued. And, stronger language. I know many offices in the Weather Service Department are using this sort of enhanced wording in the warnings. I think that raises awareness, especially with the media, so they can get the word out. This isn't just an ordinary tornado warning. It's just one example of a dual polarization that's coming in our state in early December. So we're going to be one of the earlier ones to see the dual pole retrofit. Resurgence of long track tornadoes. I don't know if this is necessarily true, but there was pretty much start to finish. We had tornadoes begin as early in our area in northwest Georgia as 8:30 in the morning. The last tornado really finished was pretty much done with around 2:30 in the morning. It was almost 24 hours straight somewhere in our CWA. There were some breaks. One of the longer breaks was there later evening, around 11 p.m. We've done a resurgence of these supercells that didn't just produce brief tornadoes, but more long track tornadoes. The expectation was, a lot of our forecasts, even our hazardous weather outlooks, was that we were expecting linear storms to develop around midnight. Maybe the vertical wind shear and the mid-upper levels became more unidirectional. That wasn't the case, unfortunately. We actually continued with long track supercells and produced long tracks of EF3 damage, in some cases strong EF3s. No violent tornadoes were seen except for the one that we'll show you in a minute. These are just somewhat skip through these sites fairly quickly. But, around this time frame, you can kind of see at night. There's debris balls within there. I can show you there's one that's, I believe that's touched down there. Northeast Meriwether County, another one. Southern Meriwether County coming up in the area of Warm Springs. That's a federal FDR White House. It's in that area, getting very close to being hit by this long track tornado. There were a few others here in this area. And it didn't match our expectations on what we had all the staff in place. We weren't letting the guard down, so we were prepared for that. Georgia's strongest tornado? I believe it is. I don't know for a fact without seeing evidence of this. It's hard to find photographs, surveys of the state of other strong tornadoes. We don't have that many EF4 tornadoes. This one was on the high end. Definitely a violent tornado. Catoosa County hit around 8:15 p.m. And notice what's interesting about this, that this is the city of Greenville, and it did quite a bit of damage in the northern section of town, but this is a mountain range that kind of exaggerated the terrain of Google Earth. So you can see that, I hope it shows up on the projection. That star, you can see that is the area called Cherokee Valley, where the strongest damage was seen. I believe this is yet another example of terrain-enhanced tornado genesis, and I don't have pictures. I'm pretty sure there was damage coming up, so I'm pretty sure it was a continuous track. Maybe there was a weakening here when it's coming up to the upslope, but I'm pretty sure there was continuous damage. But became very intense. And of course, this is Georgia's strongest tornado. I wanted to show you a slide of radar image. It does not look like Georgia, a strong tornado or violent tornado on radar. That was because the high top radar had been disabled by this power loss in the area. So we were able to look at it from our radar quite far away. It was definitely a strong cyclone in the area. That's about when it touches down. It's this radar image right now. Meteorologists will not take chances. We had reports earlier in the evening. So there was a warning out plenty of time. And this is what the tornado did for this area that I have mentioned at the start. This is Cherokee Valley. It's a small area. This is Cherokee Valley Road. It's pretty close to the state line with Tennessee. All these homes were level. We sent our most experienced surveyor. He was able to go up and look at this very closely. We surveyed it from the air and the ground. I just wanted to point out there are very stringent guidelines. That's kind of a subjective word, but the guideline is for EF5. You must have above average construction. I know it's a guideline. I suppose you could go up and down and say maybe because of the surrounding damage to trees being level. These are some evergreen trees, not your typical pine tree that you see in Georgia. They're all stripped down to pretty much the bare part of the trunk, not much left of these trees. I do have some photographs of pictures to see what they looked like before. But some of these homes, what they looked like before, were pretty staggering. This is one of the homes in this area. There's no trace of the home. A lot of the debris has been pushed very far. This home was built in 2007. Unfortunately, this was a rural area that was more typical of rural construction in Georgia. Almost all of these homes that you see were straight down, the foundation straight down into the ground. So unfortunately, a lot of the deaths happened in this area. If I have time remaining, I wanted to show out one of the co-authors of this presentation is Robbie Westbrook, one of our emergency managers in Cherokee County. He's very good at this. He's done a similar survey in Americus, Georgia. And if you want to read this carefully yourself, I've kind of highlighted in green and red what's important with those. I can quickly point out, a lot of people were well aware there was a tornado coming to watch out. A lot of people were using social media. A lot of people left their homes well in advance, and may have been because of Alabama, what was happening to the west. And with the warning response, yes, they received the warning, but no one's using no weather radio. It's almost all broadcast, television broadcast. And they took shelter, but some people just waited until it was done. That's pretty much all.